How long have you been studying Japanese? I've been teaching Japanese for 3 years to people from all over the world. I have done 2,500 lessons with 300 people. And I've found some tendencies that students are struggling with their improvement in Japanese. I will give you 4 examples and solutions. Here we go. First, start learning Japanese without Hiragana and Katakana. In Japanese, there are 3 types of letters: Hiragana, Katakana, and Kanji. Hiragana is the most simple and basic one. Katakana is for the words from another country. Kanji is based on the Chinese characters, which is the most difficult one. Obviously, Kanji is the most difficult one. Even Japanese people don't know all of them. So, it's not a big problem if you can't read Kanji if you are a beginner. However, some people try to learn Japanese without Hiragana and Katakana, which is really bad. This is a terrible idea. Please imagine, if someone says, "I want to learn your language without knowing letters," how does it sound to you? It's crazy, right? If you want to travel to Japan, you need to know some survival phrases. It's okay if you don't know the Hiragana and Katakana, but if you want to be able to have a small conversation with Japanese people, you have to know Hiragana and Katakana first. The reason why I'm saying this, I've seen many students who try to learn Japanese without knowing Hiragana and Katakana. They failed. All of them ended up realizing that they can't master Japanese without knowing Hiragana and Katakana. They thought it was a shortcut, but it wasn't. If you want to do actual shortcut, you have to learn Hiragana, Katakana first. Second, try to translate every single word into your language or English. I can say this when you learn other languages. Some people try to translate every single word into English. Sometimes it helps you understand how the words work. However, as a Japanese native speaker and teacher who is learning English, I feel like I can't translate every single word into Japanese or English. For example, when I teach the most simple sentence, something is something, which will be something wa something this in Japanese. Yes, some people ask, what does wa means? What does this means? I can describe how they work. We don't have the literal translation in English, so it's very hard to translate. It's very hard to translate every single word. If you want to improve your Japanese faster, I recommend you to remember the structure first and try to put different vocabularies in this sentence. Even if you don't know what the exact meaning of every single word, at least if you know the meaning of the structure, it will work. Third, can keep studying consistently. I teach kids, students, senior, middle age, young adult. No matter who they are, no matter how old they are, the students who only study 10 minutes every day, they improve faster than students who study for 3 hours a day a week. I know a student who takes 1 lesson a week with me. He studies Japanese for 10 minutes every day by himself. That practice made himself reach the level of being able to conversation with Japanese people when he's traveling in Japan. He and I were so happy about it. I can say quality and consistency are the keys. I know many people have to work every day or deal with something else. It's okay, it doesn't have to be that long. Please just make 10 minutes and do it every day. Fourth, learn Japanese with battle or fantasy anime. I know a vast amount of people love anime. If you could learn Japanese with anime, that would be awesome. But there are certain genres that I recommend you use as a study material. Battle and fantasy. Why are these anime not used for learning? Actually, it's related how Japanese creators make iconic characters and catchy phrases. Most likely, they are not useful in real life. For example, I assume you might hear "datebayo" from one of the most popular anime. Some students ask me, what does "datebayo" mean? I can say, it doesn't mean anything. I'm not saying you shouldn't learn Japanese with anime. It could be helpful sometimes, but you have to know which phrases are useful or not. If you want to learn Japanese with anime, I would recommend you watch daily life or school life genres. And also, I would recommend you watch Japanese reality show because the cast, they speak formally and sometimes casually, and the way they talk are most likely the natural way of speaking. Today, I gave you 4 tendencies that students are struggling with their improvement in Japanese and solutions. If you have any ideas for the YouTube or any questions, please leave a comment. Thank you.